across the road there was agriculture, and I think it was potatoes out there they were picking up. And my old granddad, apparently, this particular day, it must have been about 1943, I think, round about there. He was there with his pipe sitting outside of his shed. And this plane came over and dropped a bomb, and there was all these people there who'd been loading spuds onto this horse and cart, and they all heard this plane and flattened themselves out, and the bomb fell, I think, just forward to the horse, and he bolted, and the window in the shed went, and my granddad was sitting there, and his pipe, I don't know whether it fell out of his hand or whether it was blown out. He said, "I lost my bloody pipe." But anyway, we carried on until 1945 came, and there was much rejoicing. Obviously, the war in Europe was over. And that night, you know, I was nearly 14, and I was down the pub with my mate having a light ale. And I wouldn't say that we had a bad war. We were very fortunate. My great aunt was killed in the Blitz up in London, and but we managed ourselves. Where rationing was concerned, and so many people talk about rationing, it was sparse, but it was good. And I think, of course, in those days, I mean, my gran was a whiz cook. I don't know how she managed it, but we weren't hungry with the vegetables and soft fruits that my grandfather grew and all the rest of it. And people bartered eggs with something else and so on like that. And I don't ever recall being hungry. I do recall being without toothpaste once. My gran said, "It's all right, use salt."
Salt and water, wasn't it?
Salt, yeah, salt. And it was good. But I all that time as well, I was in a church choir, and our choir master was a brilliant man actually, and he organised us boys into a choral society, and we'd back up concerts that were being held for War Weapons Week, Warship Week, Red Cross Week or something or other like that. And we were called the Silver Songsters. Laughable. And we wore white shirts, white shorts, socks and gym shoes. Well, gym shoes became sparse, you know, so we was on stage in socks. But we used to sing, you know, in these concerts. And there was one lady there, rather a large lady she was, and she was a brilliant singer. Dorothy Jordan, her name was. And I remember this particular concert, she was all dressed up as Britannia. And as we were lined up for the finale, Britannia came out, and I always think she was marvellous. She never muffed a line, she never forgot a word. And I was more or less just to her right. And there it was, she was stood there on the stage with a trident, and there was the words of Land and Hope and Glory all on the and I thought, oh, you old fraud. But that is the things that we did as children. We were very conscious of the war effort, and we used to do all sorts of things for it. You know, we used to collect and sell one another's comics. You know, I remember once we had some sort of a concert where we were all singing in somebody's shed out the back, and we raised about 8 and 4pence for the Red Cross and all sorts of silly things like that. But we felt that we were doing something. We had troops stationed outside the town, and prior to D-Day, I remember, they were exercising, obviously, it was house to house. And our front door apparently flew open. They ran through the house, about 2 or 3 soldiers, ran through, straight out the back, over the garden wall, and there was flashbangs and smoke bombs going off everywhere. We thought we'd been invaded for a moment. But, you know, it was one of those things. I said, oh, well, that was another thing that we experienced. But you could go on forever,
Well,
you know.
that's
Go on forever.
so insightful. Massive round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you.